to do this video with my child very much fighting sleep in the background. Normally I have like a little microphone that helps me, but my dumb ass forgot to charge it. So we're just going to be using regular old audio. So if it sucks, maybe I'll try to refilm this. If it doesn't suck, then y'all are just stuck listening to my tiny terror fight sleep as hard as he possibly can in the background. So I had this idea of a cute little video. I know a lot of people are doing their yearly wrap-ups, the best 25 for 25. I didn't have that many amazing reads in 2025, and to be honest, I barely made it to 52 books this year. And for some, that sounds like an extreme. For myself, I used to think that that was nothing and that I was just barely touching the surface. But then a lot of my friends who, you know, are parents, work full-time jobs, and honestly have just been in awful reading slumps this year, told me to not be so hard on myself. And so I'm gonna listen and just be proud of the fact that I read it all. Anyway, so with all that being said, I would like to talk to you about my 5 favorite reads for this past year. And then at the very end, I'm gonna just blip in my 5 least favorite reads. But that doesn't mean that those books are bad. It just means that they definitely were at the bottom of the pile and that I just personally didn't enjoy them. So I'll include that at the tail end. But for now, we're going to talk about my 5 favorite reads from this past year. And we're going to kind of go in order. So we'll start with number 5, which is actually a tie. It was not going to be a tie until I just recently, literally in the past couple of weeks, finished this book. And I gotta stick it in. I gotta stick it in. So that would be Tourist Season by Bryn Weaver. Okay, so I have not read the Leather and Lark trilogy series. I haven't read that series. I honestly had no idea that this was the same author that did that series. I picked this up off of a freaking whim, y'all. My mother-in-law gave me my Christmas present early so that I could enjoy some book shopping while there's a bunch of good deals and stuff like that in the stores. And so she gave me a Books A Million gift card, and I went into Books A Million and I was like, what can I get? What can I get? And I saw this sitting there and I read the cover, or I read the little synopsis, and it sounded so intriguing to me. So I was like, okay, we can go here. This sounds cute. I fucking loved this book, you guys. And I read a lot of romance and romantasy this past year. There are a few others. I could probably do a top 5 favorite romance specific list, but the list I created was more along. Let me just take a quick side road. This is how my brain works. So I compiled this list not just based off of the star rating I gave it, and not just based off of, you know, likability, but it was more along the lines of like, did this book really do something for me? Did it make me feel all the feels? Was it memorable? Was the main thing. And I know that I just read this book, so duh, it's memorable, but this book is gonna stay with me. I really enjoyed this, the banter, the humor sprinkled in with just like it was good. It was good. I can't find my words today, and honestly, this is the first video I'm doing in probably a year or more at this point, so y'all are just gonna have to bear with me. This book was really good. It was really good. I think I gave it a 5-star actually. And I'm very excited to get the second book, which I think doesn't even come out until June of next year, which is kind of like hurting me, because while this doesn't end on just like the most abrupt cliffhanger ever, it doesn't end in a great place. So it's like I need to get back into this. But if you like dark romance with a little bit of like serial killer vibes, this is for you. I think this is for you. And it has like just enough banter and humor in it to alleviate some of the darker themes, make it not so unbearably heavy, if that makes sense. So anyway, this book tied for 5th place with My Heart is a Chainsaw by Stephen Graham Jones. Now, I actually read My Heart is a Chainsaw and Don't Fear the Reaper this past year. I do own Angel of Indian Lake, I think is what the third one is called, but I haven't read that one yet, and I'm definitely going to get to it in 2026. I included this first book on the list just because it was the most heavy hitting of the 2 that I've read so far. However, I think I actually enjoyed the plot and the storyline of the second one a little bit more. However, like this is a series that you definitely cannot skip around in. You cannot skip around in. You will be confused. This one tore my heart wide open. Literally, my heart is a chainsaw. My heart feels like it was like run through by a chainsaw. Jade Daniels, man, she is my freaking final girl. That is my girl. I love her so much. And in this one, I actually enjoyed her personality a little bit more than the second one, because in this one, while there has been some trauma and there has been some, not so pleasant things happening to Jade, she's still like this over the top horror movie nerd, weird girl to the extreme. She says things that should have been kept in here. I feel it. I feel that way. But she is just so epic, and she's trying so hard to prepare everybody around her for like this slasher that's going to happen, and no one believes her. But then, like, I can't give too much away because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but this is so good. Now, Stephen Graham Jones is one of those authors that like a lot of people hate, a lot of people love, and a lot of people feel kind of I don't know about. His writing style is very unique. I don't really know how to describe his writing style. Sometimes it slips into this inner monologue style. It almost feels like a stream of consciousness, but not nearly as chaotic as like a genuine stream of consciousness would be. There is depth here. There is gore. There is some very creepy scenes, but I feel like this series is more horror action, horror icon, horror franchise. Think Friday the 13th. There's so many horror movies that are referenced in these books. It will make you it will make your mind spin, especially if you really love horror movies. Please read these books. Please read these books. There are so many like just weird little horror movie factoids. And anyway, I'm rambling. I know this video is going to end up being like 6 hours long talking about 5 books. But anyway, this comes in at number 5. Loved this book, and also really loved Don't Fear the Reaper. Coming in at number 4. Now, originally I had this book at number 5, and I had this one in My Heart is a Chainsaw flipped. But as far as memorability goes, and certain scenes that really fucked me up, it had to move up a spot. It had to move up a spot, all right? And that is Incidents Around the House by Josh Malerman. Love or hate this book, you cannot deny this book is memorable as fuck, okay? Without giving anything away, I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending, okay? I wasn't the biggest fan of the ending, but this movie, this is a book, Michelle. Where are we right now? This book felt like a movie. While I was reading it, it felt like I was watching a movie play out in my noggin. There are some of the creepiest, like actually frightening scenes portrayed in this book that I have ever read. And I'm not claiming to be some kind of like horror enthusiast to the point where like, oh yeah, I've read all the horror novels. No, by no means. But for sure, this book fucked me up. And it was just so unbearably unsettling. Like there were scenes, if you know, you know, The bathroom scene. The bathroom. The bathroom. If you know, you know. Okay? And there's several scenes like that in this book that they send chills down your spine. Like genuine chills. And while I didn't love the ending, and I really had been hoping for a different ending, we'll just leave it at that. While I was hoping for a different ending, this book I will definitely reread many times just for that creep factor, just for that fear, because this is one of the few horror novels that I've read that genuinely made me afraid. So, coming in at number 4. For number 3, so before I tell you what number 3 is, this last year I got more heavily into reading thrillers, like actual thrillers. And a lot of the thrillers that I read have a very horror specific undertone, and you could theoretically put them in either camp or both genres, if that makes any kind of sense. So like this next book I would classify as a thriller, but it has a lot of real life horrifying scenarios in it that messed me up. Okay, they just messed me up. And that is The Whisper Man by Alex North. I read this book as a new parent, y'all. My kiddo is creeping up on his 2nd birthday in March of next year. I read this book as a new parent. And I don't know why I did that, but it's so good. It's so good, though. Actually, I don't know if I have The Man Made of Smoke, the one that came out this year. Because I want to say this book actually came out a couple of years ago. When did this come out? This came out in 2019. So this book is a little bit on the older side-ish. He had a new book come out this year, which I think is called The Man Made of Smoke. And I want to say I either own it or it is on my to-buy list because I love the way Alex North writes. I love the way he writes. He does such good character building. And the characters weave themselves in and out of the story so well. And I know I'm probably ranting like a mad person and it doesn't quite make sense. But holy shit, this author writes amazing thriller. But the reason I feel like this could easily be translated into a horror novel as well, and it kind of fits into both genres, is because what happens in this book is so devastatingly horrific for anyone. And I'm not talking about just parents, like I'm talking about anyone. Like anyone could resonate with this, but I will tell you right now, if you are a new parent of small children, maybe think twice about reading this one, because this one genuinely fucked me up. Like I cried. Because I have a really hard time turning off my little empathy switch, or at least like dimming it down when I'm reading and watching things. I empathize way too heavily with characters. That's a me problem. I know it's not a you problem, it's a me problem, but because of that, when I read books like this, I will be there sobbing because I'm putting myself in what I assume the parents are dealing with. I'm putting myself there, and I cannot fathom having to go through some shit like this. With that being said, amazing book, amazing character building, amazing plot drive. Like it is just, and this one will stay with me for many years, I feel. But yeah, number 3. For number 2, I don't even know how to describe this book, so I'm just going to get to it. The Narrows by Ronald Malfi. Ronald Malfi and Stephen Graham Jones keep going back and forth with who is my absolute favorite author. Ronald Malfi might take the cake just because I have, numbers-wise, enjoyed more of his novels than Stephen Graham Jones. It's just so far. However, they flip-flop a lot. They keep throwing me for a loop. I will say that with Ronald Malfi, I have genuinely loved genuinely loved every single book outside of maybe one that he has written. And I've read 4 or 5 now, which I know is not even a lot, but I have like 4 or 5 saved up for next year too that I haven't read yet, and I'm so excited. I'm so fucking pumped for it. You just don't know. This book right here. What did you do, Ronald Malfi? What did you do? What did you do to me? I was not expecting this. Okay, so Ronald Malfi, I don't want to compare him to Stephen King because I feel like everyone always compares authors to Stephen King, and that's not fair. But I feel like they both have this ability to make you genuinely care about every single character, even the assholes, like even the unlikable ones, man, even the unlikable ones. And they also have this really beautiful way of creating a reality with hints of the supernatural that end up like completely engulfed in the supernatural by the end of the book, if that makes sense. Again, I'm pretty sure I'm raving like a mad woman right now. Thoughts and words and speaking, they're not my thing today. But this book is so good, and I don't want to give anything away, but it also has a lot to do with children. So just be aware of that. Just be aware of that. It also hit me in my feels a little bit as far as the kids go. But it is horrifying. Like, well, this one didn't make me sob as much as The Whisper Man did. This one made me terrified of them creepy kids, man. Them creepy fucking kids. But also, there is a level of body horror in this that I wasn't expecting. I'm not huge on body horror. I hate it. I hate it. But this was just enough to send me over to like fear and panic town, while also not completely grossing me out like a lot of body horror novels do. There are certain novels that I just cannot read because they make me genuinely want to vomit. This one had a couple of scenes where I was like, this makes me a little bit nauseous because I'm very weak of the stomach, okay? Like, I am very weak of the stomach. If there's body horror, if there's parasitic organisms, if there's things like that, I am going to get sick. Like, not actually vomit, but I'm going to feel like I need to. This one almost got me there, but didn't quite push me over the edge, which I really appreciated. Very atmospheric. This one's very atmospheric. This one has a whole ass mood to it. If you are fans of small town vibes, creepy abandoned building vibes, people getting picked off here and there, we don't really know what's going on, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, shit has hit the fan. I think you would really enjoy this book. And, you know, like I said, Ronald Malfi, I've enjoyed so much of just, God, all of his books that I've read. They have so much depth to them. And this is the thing, he has so much depth in his books, but his books do not feel like a chore to read. And that's a big thing for me, because I love books that have depth, books that make you think, books that make you feel with your whole chest. But I don't want to feel like it's some chore, for lack of a better word, to read. And a lot of books like that kind of become a chore. The book is a great length. Most of his books are. They're on the shorter side. And man, he manages to pack so much into these shorter novels. I'm so impressed by his work. I am so impressed by his work. I cannot wait to see what else he comes up with. I cannot wait to read his backlist, which I plan on reading most of this next year. This book blew me away. Blew me away. It was at the #1 spot until I read the next book, and then I was like, oh, I gotta give this next book its due for real. But anyway, this came in at #2. So #1, I know somebody out there is going to see my #1 and completely roll their eyes. This book is so not for everybody. As I was reading it, I could tell it was not for everybody. But it was for me. It was for me. This book, man, it hit me in like the juicy parts of my brain. I don't even know what that fucking means. I'm pretty sure your whole brain is juicy. But it hit me. It was so... the feelings that emitted from this book were very cerebral. And if that doesn't make sense to you, I'm sorry, but I don't know how else to explain it. But anyway, without further ado, my number one read for 2025 was Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. First off, look at that cover. That's just beautiful. That's just beautiful. But this book, oh, look at the sprayed edges too. I found them. I found the sprayed edges. I feel like most people found the sprayed edges, but I like to make myself feel special sometimes. This book does something for me that no other historical fiction piece has ever been able to do. It kept me locked in. Like, it kept me locked in. I normally get so bored with historical fiction. If it in any way feels historical, I feel like it's a snooze fest. I feel like I honestly just don't care, and I know that makes me sound like an asshole because history is important, but historical fiction in particular usually bores me to fucking death. This kept me so locked in, so very committed. I wanted to know what was going to happen, but I also wanted to make it take its time. I made myself slow down on reading this because I felt like I was burning through it so fast that I was losing the substance. I was losing like the importance of this book. So not only does the historical side focus in on certain events from actual history that were awful, terrifying, horrifying, but very like based in the real world. Like, this is the kind of horror that people do to each other, and it's sickening. But you get introduced to this supernatural element. And I'm sure y'all have all figured out by now, I'm sure y'all have heard from all the people ranting and raving about this book this year, that there's vampires in this book. Okay? Vampires. It's been a hot minute since I have read a vampire book that has captivated me so much. I would say the last time would probably be The Gathering by C.J. Tudor. But that's neither here nor there. This book was fantastic. I don't even know how to describe how it made me feel. It made me feel horrified at the evil that people are capable of, like just the genuine evil that humans are capable of. But then it also had this beautiful like correlation with these genuine monsters. And like, what do you do? What do you do if you are kind of forcibly against your will turned into a monster? Like, how do you use this new power that you didn't have before? And you know, the easy answer is vengeance. Vengeance, like all the way. So the payoff by the end of this book was awesome. I loved it. The characters are so amazing. You almost feel bad for the main enemy, but then like by the end, when you realize the full length of what this person has done, no matter how empathetic you want to be towards that person, you know that the ending had to be that way. It just had to. Anyway, that's me being as vague as possible. I don't want to give you all synopses of books. I kind of hate it when people go too in depth about what a book is about, because I want you to be interested enough to pick it up on your own. And I think it's kind of better to go into books like these blind, because I don't want you setting up a precedent in your head of what it's supposed to be, because Stephen Graham Jones always has this way about his writing where you're going to think that it's going to go a certain way, and then no, the fuck it doesn't. But it deviates in a beautiful way. It deviates in a way that's like, wow, I was not even comprehending where this book was going to go. But yeah. So this is my number one of the year, guys. I am excited about it. I cannot wait to reread some of these books next year because I do want to reread a few. And then I just cannot wait to see what the new year brings as far as like releases. I know most of these books were horror. Pretty much all of them were, other than one. But I did read a lot of romance, romantasy. I've had a hard time with this channel trying to figure out what I want to do with it because for the longest time I wanted to hone in on horror. But because I read so many different types of books, I kind of want to take a step back from that and just include everything that I'm reading. I like to read a lot of true crime, other types of nonfiction books, thrillers, romantasy, regular old romance. I've been getting a lot more into contemporary romance than I thought I would because normally contemporary romance bores the snot out of me. But I've read a few good books this last year where I was like, okay, this could be something. And then I would like to get back on track with a few of the manga series that I've been reading. So there's a lot. There's a lot to do in the new year and I'm excited for it. If you've made it this far in the video, first of all, thank you. If you haven't considered, maybe subscribe because I do plan on posting a hell of a lot more in the new year than I have in the past couple of years. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday and that the new year is kind to all of us because we need it. Bye for now.